Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You, of course, can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Thursday's edition of the Doctor Who Daily. So before we talk about Torchwood Season 1, because I want to go into that on today's Doctor Who Daily, we do have a bit of housekeeping. A title for Episode 1 of Series 13 of Doctor Who has been announced. And let's get this right. Chapter 1, The Halloween Apocalypse. Now, I think this is a really good title. It wouldn't surprise me if they thought about this 5 minutes before they posted this title. But anyway, we're all saying, well, it was always planned for Halloween. Yeah. The BBC are really good planners. Chris Chibnall was great, a big planner, and he knew all this all along. No, maybe they did. I mean, you would hope that their planning is that thorough and that intelligent, but you don't know. Anyway, The Halloween Apocalypse is a really, really strong title, but the title of the episode is really irrelevant because we didn't know, because this is one intertwined story. I felt, and many thought, it was just going to be, you know, Flux Chapter 1, Flux Chapter 2, etc., etc. What I fear about this, having this kind of individual title, is that maybe this interwoven story will be part of these different chapters, but they'll have other kind of standalone stories in the middle of this. This could be a way for them to put in fillers. I really hope that chapters 1 to 6, no matter what they're titled, actually focus on the Flux story at large and don't drag it out and give us boring stories that we're really not interested in. If you're going to do a chapterized serialized Doctor Who, then do a chapterized serialized Doctor Who. You know what I mean? You know, don't mess us about. Don't waste our time. You've only got 6 episodes. 6 episodes should be full of epicness and story and laughs and emotion and aliens and the Doctor, of course, front and centre. So I think that's a very, very good and strong title. Right, let's talk about Torchwood Series 1. Right, basically there are 2 exceptional seasons of Torchwood. That's Season 1 and that's Season 3. Season 3 is extremely dark. Well, I'm going to have to re-watch Season 3 again, and we'll talk about it in a proper video because it's not fresh in my mind. So I really want to go into that because it's some of my favourite piece of media I've ever seen. Anyway, I like Season 1 of Torchwood because this is actually Captain Jack at his best. I mean, his best was also when he was introduced in Season 1 of the revival with Christopher Eccleston, but this is, in Torchwood terms, this is Captain Jack at his best. And let me explain to you why. This is a man who is absolutely heartbroken. He's in love with the Doctor has deserted him, and all he's got is the man's severed hand. And that's all he cares about, because that can lead him to the Doctor. He's got it in this water, and it can kind of, I suppose, sense if the Doctor or the TARDIS are anywhere nearby. So it's very important to Captain Jack. But this is a man who's taken over Torchwood Wales. He's brought this team together, but they're not really a team. He lies to them. They think he's a mystery. They don't trust him because he is lying to them and he doesn't tell them everything. And we noticed this in the episodes. I think what happened with the characters that Russell developed for Torchwood was great, especially in the first season, because they all had great characterizations and personalities, and none of them really trusted Captain Jack. There's some really, really good episodes in there as well, especially Cyberwoman and the double-parted finale for Season 1 when they turn on each other. In Cyberwoman, Captain Jack turns against Yanto really badly for what happens with his girlfriend. And I think that is the best element of Torchwood. Torchwood is literally R-rated Doctor Who, because Russ always believed that the Doctor shouldn't be in Torchwood. He shouldn't be R-rated, but the spin-off show from the Doctor Who universe should be R-rated. And they were very successful. There was nudity, there was sex. I mean, I didn't need to see the nudity or the sex. Maybe some people do. It's kind of an R-rated X-Files, if you like. But anyway, so Captain Jack has put this team together. And really, he's using Torchwood. He's using these people who don't even trust him to find the Doctor. That's all he cares about. But obviously he's got to do his due diligence. He's also investigating these cases every week and obviously making sure that Wales is safe. But ultimately, his main goal is being reunited with the man he loves, the Doctor. But it's complicated. And he becomes a very, very, ill-adjusted, selfish, complex character. He's not, he's still kind of complex when we first meet him. Because even when he tells Rose and the Doctor his history about being the time agent and having his memory erased and things like that. And RTD never really went back to that. We never saw any flashbacks about his era in the time agency. I would like to see that. Now, if Barrowman can't play him, maybe they want to bring in a younger version of him and do that. I think that would be very interesting. But if you want to, do something very ambitious, you could literally do it when he becomes, what's his name? I forgot what he becomes. That creature alien thingy that he's meant to become in the future. Damn, I'm bad with names. But they could do a show like that as well, which would be very ambitious. But I'd like to know more about Captain Jack, because what I don't understand about Captain Jack, his knowledge of the universe and everything is equal to the Doctor's. That's weird. I actually used to have a theory that Russell's vision for Captain Jack was that he's the last regeneration of the Doctor, and the Doctor's final regeneration is Captain Jack, and that's why Captain Jack becomes the face of Bo. That's it, the face of Bo. A face of Bo series would be awesome. But anyway, but of course he's immortal because of what Rose does to him in Bad Wolf. But actually, Russell T Davies has hinted that Jack was actually immortal before she did that to him. Now that's interesting. So this is why I would love to know more about Captain Jack Harkness, because I do suspect that he may be a Time Lord, he may be the final regeneration of the Doctor. That's always been my theory, and I'm sure lots of people in the comments will say, well, it can't happen because of A, B or C, but I still think it would be a very awesome thing to do. Anyway, so as we get into Torchwood Series 1, it becomes very apparent that Jack, this hand in this jar full of water, or whatever's preserving the Doctor's hand, is very important to Jack. Is it the first episode or the second episode where someone tries to steal the hand and Jack goes absolutely ballistic? And so we don't know. I mean, it's so good. Russell T Davies is such a smart writer. In the Christmas Invasion, the Sycorax chops the Doctor's hand off just as he's regenerated, so he grows another one back. That hand goes flying. Now, we then see a hand being preserved in a jar full of water in Torchwood, but we don't click on. That's amazing. I don't think anyone, not one Doctor Who fan, clicked on. I didn't. And then when I realised it was the Doctor's hand, I thought, fucking hell, Russell, that's just genius, isn't it? I mean, he used an off-the-cuff moment that we thought meant nothing, the Doctor getting his hands chopped off, and he used it for Torchwood and Captain Jack's evolution. And what's amazing about season 1, we go through this amazing season, and that finale is huge. I mean, it's like a blockbuster movie. It's one of the best finales I've ever seen. One of the best television finales I've ever witnessed. It's amazing. And then we go to the trilogy, the final trilogy of season 3 of Doctor Who, and because he vanishes in the Torchwood finale, then we then see the continuation of that, of him jumping on the TARDIS and being reunited with the Doctor and meeting Martha for the first time. It's amazing. So from the Christmas Invasion, and I did this in a rewatch, I think if you actually watch each episode of Torchwood season 1 and Doctor Who season 3, alternately you watch one episode, then you watch the other episode of Torchwood, then Doctor Who, then Torchwood, it kind of makes fucking sense. This is what Russell does. He is the Kevin Feige of Doctor Who, and it's very exciting that he's coming back, because shit like this is amazing. But going back to Torchwood, he gave every Torchwood character a moment to shine. I didn't feel the love for season 2 I did for season 1. I think season 2's pretty good, and James Masters is a very interesting character that they introduced, and he plays well up against John Barrowman's Captain Jack Harkness. It's just not the same. Let me tell you what goes wrong with shows. It's when the characters become too over-familiar with each other. Because the first season was a bit of a mystery and Captain Jack was being secretive with them, and they didn't particularly like them and like him, and he didn't particularly care about them. He didn't like them, he didn't hate them. Basically, the Torchwood team he put together in season 1 were a means to an end. He was just a man on a mission, and all he cared about was finding the Doctor. He didn't care about them, and we see that in Cyberwoman. We see it in the double finale and how they all turn. Basically, if Jack had just been honest with them from the beginning, they wouldn't have turned on him so easily in the double finale in season 1. And I always found that brilliant. I mean, as I've already said, it's just a nuts finale. It's brilliant. I mean, I think, because people don't really talk about Torchwood season 1 as being the greatest Doctor Who thing that Russell T Davies has ever done, but it might well be. That finale might well be. It was sensational. And that's when Russell was more involved in Torchwood, obviously, because you can't be making Doctor Who and Torchwood at the same time. It's difficult. He was very much involved. I mean, like Torchwood Miracle Day was his concept. I think he wrote the first episode and that was it. That whole Miracle Day thing was a disaster because basically the BBC was selling Torchwood off to another American network. And Russell wasn't happy that the fans didn't embrace it, and he kind of went, whoa, we won't make any more, we're teacher. It wasn't a very good attitude to have, as much as I love Russell T Davies and respect him as a creative. Maybe Torchwood wasn't meant to continue and to continue. If you think about it, Torchwood at its best was when it was really dark in temper and in tone and in storytelling. The first season, but that, as I say, I forgot the title of it because it's got a title. The season 3 one is the darkest shit I've ever seen. Doctor Who, sorry, say that again. Torchwood season 1 and Torchwood season 3 are the most amazing pieces of sci-fi television I've ever seen. And I've seen the fucking lot. I've seen Quantum Leap, X-Files, you know, all of them. I grew up with a lot of sci-fi. And this is the most adult material. But I know a lot of Doctor Who, younger Doctor Who fans who shouldn't have been watching that, were watching that. It was like me and my brother when we were kids, the V miniseries about the alien invasion. We were watching that. We weren't supposed to be watching it. It was scary shit. But we watched it. And I think it's an education for young people to go from Doctor Who, which is lighter in tone, and then the adult themes of Torchwood season 1. Because if you look beyond the sex, which there's not much of, or the swearing, the actual stories are sensational. It's like that one, and now let me try and explain it properly. If you remember the episode, it's when these people from the 40s or 38 or whatever, the Second World, whatever they were from, they fly into the rift from the 30s or 40s or wherever they're from, and they're trapped in 21st century Cardiff. And the Torchwood team have to take each one of them and partner up with them and get them accustomed to their new lives. It's such a rich, deep story, but it only works because Captain Jack, you know, he kind of empathizes, he kind of feels compassion and sympathy for the older guy, because this older guy in the end actually fucking chokes himself with exhaust fumes because he can't handle not being in his time anymore. And I think Captain Jack kind of knows he's going to do it. And because Captain Jack's a bit of a darker character at this time, because the Doctor basically the Doctor ran away from him, and Captain Jack doesn't fucking understand what he did wrong. So he's heartbroken because the Doctor changed everything for Jack. He changed him from being a con artist to someone, to a hero. So that whole thing messed with Captain Jack's head. John Barrowman is amazing in that first season. And this episode I'm talking about is sensational. And this is what I am talking about. The darkest shit you will ever see in sci-fi. And it works. And this is a little Welsh production by this Welsh writer, Russell T Davies, and it's sensational. This is the kind of stuff that Russell T Davies can give you. So when people say he's coming back as Doctor Who showrunner and he's going to do the same stuff again and it's not progressive and we're just going backwards, we're not. Russell T Davies can deliver you anything he wants. He's not going to deliver you the same stuff. You're not going to keep on seeing Rose again or this one again. He's going to give you new characters, and he's got a bold, brand new vision for Doctor Who. And Torchwood kind of exemplifies the man's fucking genius. We went from Doctor Who to Torchwood, which is Doctor Who spelt is an anagram of Doctor Who. The man's a fucking genius. Of course once he left it was going to be fucked up and inconsistent. This is our Kevin Feige of Doctor Who. He should never have gone. And if he wanted to go and do other projects, at least have a godfather role at Doctor Who, and you choose who your replacement is, which he did with Stephen Moffat, by the way. But at least he could have kept an eye on Moffat and kept him, well, not honest, because Moffat's a great honest guy, but he gets carried away with himself. And if Russell was there in this godfather role, the bad things that happened would never have happened. Anyway, so this show Torchwood, very, very special to me, especially that first season. As I say, I rewatch the first season all the time. I would say a lot of people don't really rewatch season 2 or Miracle Day, but season 1 and season 3 are probably the best piece of sci-fi that you will ever see. And then we get to the finale, which is amazing, because this challenges Captain Jack and his team to the very core, because this threat, this alien, whatever this is, whatever this man is, this older man, I thought he was the master, by the way, at first, when we first saw him, but he wasn't, because he kind of just reminded me of the way the master might be in a revival. But he was great. I forgot the character's name, but he was tempting them with stuff that they wanted. He was showing them, he showed Gwen the future of Reese being injured, maybe even killed. So basically, he's fucking with the team. And Captain Jack, it's an amazing moment at the end when Gwen goes, we saw all this stuff. What did you see? When we died or whatever, right? And he said, I saw nothing. There was nothing. And that kind of gives you the example of what a sad, tragic character Captain Jack is in season 1. He has had a lot of bad shit happen to him and done to him. We don't even know half the bad shit that's been done to that guy. He doesn't even know because his mind was erased when he was a time agent. And so I just think that's why he's a fascinating character. And just because John's been cancelled, I think we should uncancel him just for the entertainment element, because what he did was kind of out of order and bad, but it wasn't that bad. He didn't do anything that can't be forgiven. Bring him back. But you could actually do a Captain Jack prequel story as well, which would be very exciting. And I just love him. I love the mystery of Captain Jack in this series, in the way, yeah, when Gwen asks him, I saw nothing. And then, at that very moment, he hears that noise that gives everyone hope, the noise of the TARDIS's engine. And then he disappears. Jack's disappeared, Gwen says, and that's it. One of the best cliffhanger finales you will ever see. I was so satisfied with that finale, with that series, and I knew I was watching a new era of British entertainment. This was made by British hands. Maybe the money was American, don't know, don't care. But the people who made it were mainly Welsh people. The actors were great. Russell T Davies delivered something special. You know, Russell T Davies at that point was at the peak of his powers. But Russell's powers as a writer and a storyteller are always going to be at their peak, because it doesn't matter about your age. As long as you've got the imagination and drive to keep on telling great stories and develop great characters with great characterizations, you can always do this. And Torchwood is a great example of how good this guy is. And also, it exemplifies what we lost when he left Doctor Who. Because slowly, as he left Doctor Who, we didn't get Torchwood anymore. Ultimately, we did get a Miracle Day during the Moffat era, but that was that. Miracle Day killed Torchwood, because I think even Russell himself didn't understand what people loved about Torchwood. It was the hub. It was Captain Jack with that team. I do think it was a mistake killing all the original members off. As dramatic and kind of emotionally satisfying as that is, you've just created these great characterizations, and now we don't have them anymore. That's the team people wanted to see in the hub, doing what they were doing in season 1, season 2 and season 3, and you killed them off. And I know that creates that kind of story, you know, it brings kind of depth to a story, that characters have consequences, but ultimately we lost some really great characters, and I think they were better served instead of doing Miracles Day, keep that team alive and keep them working in the hub and going against new threats, like they did in season 1. Get the spirit back of season 1. If you do another one, Russell, get back that spirit. Obviously, you can't bring those characters and actors back unless you kind of, I don't know, it is time travel, that maybe something can happen. I mean, Doctor Who is a time travel show, so you could kind of bring them back, but ultimately you would have to develop brand new characters, and you'd have to develop them. Russell T Davies would have to develop them. But it is possible. I would love to see Torchwood back, but seasons 1 and seasons 3 are a very hard act to follow. This has been the Doctor Who Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment. Please subscribe. Please hit that notification button so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you tomorrow with even more Doctor Who Daily. Until then, goodbye.